What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video. And today, it is time that we discuss the topic of swing voters, elastic voters, whatever you want to call them, aka the voters that you can make an argument actually determines the elections, and they swing towards one candidate or the other. And we're going to be discussing who these voters truly are in America, and why they are, mischaracterized by many people. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying, every single county or state, etc., will have the same exact swing voters. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, however, in the important states, all right, in the Midwest, in Georgia, etc., there is a clear trend of who these elastic voters are. And we'll get to what that exactly means in a little bit. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter accounts in the description down below, also top right corner. Go follow Real American Politics on Twitter. Guys, we need to boost those following numbers up ASAP. And of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $3 a month, you could join Real American Politics, which is a phenomenal deal as it helps support the daily content we all know and love. You love the daily content? Well, this is the best way to support it. So I hope and recommend you join today. Alright, everybody, let's get into it. So, many people, I'm not bashing anybody for this, because I just think that the past couple of years or so, people are just mischaracterizing or misunderstanding what swing or elastic voters are. Now, what is an elastic voter? I consider that the better, I guess you could say the better description or better terminology. An elastic voter is a voter that, in between elections, of the same year, same environment, whatever, they vote for different parties' candidates. He may vote, for example, in the state of Maine, you may have a voter in rural Maine that votes for Trump, voted for Susan Collins, but voted for the Democrats, for the state legislator, voted for Jared Golden. That's what I'm talking about. These are the voters that they ticket split a lot, but they also swing heavy, all right? One election, they may vote dramatically Democrat. Next election, they may vote dramatically Republican. It kind of determines and be based off of the environment. That's what I'm talking about. And many people think, well, that's just suburban voters. Those are the elastic or swing voters in America. Yes, there are many swing voters that exist in suburban counties. Let's just go through an example. Let's look at 2020. Let's go to Tarrant County, all right? Biden won this county by about, just under 2,000 votes. Wrong one. Here we go. In 2020 for the Senate race, John Cornyn won this exact county by around 40,000 votes. So you would think, okay, there's probably, 45, 50,000 swing voters. However, here's the problem, all right? Cornyn won by around 5. Biden won by under, 0.25%. Look how much Trump won Texas by. He won it by around 5.5. All right, that's about rounding. All right, we're rounding up a little bit. 5.5, whatever you want to say. Cornyn won Texas by just under 10. So Cornyn statewide did around 4.5 points better than Trump statewide. In Tarrant County, he did about 5.2% better in Tarrant County compared to Trump. So really, there's about like a percent elastic, right? There's like a percent of the voters, they're truly elastic, right? Yes, raw number-wise, there seems to be a lot of voters here that are elastic swingy voters. But when you compare the statewide environments, Cornyn won by 5 or 10, Trump won by 5.5, or about 5.5. Yeah, it kind of evens out, and it really means that there's about a percent of the electorate in Tarrant you can estimate are true swing voters. Again, I'm not saying this is like a for sure 100% whatever, but it's an example. Now, a county that I consider to be a true elastic county, especially in Texas, look at Zapata County. Trump won this county by, what is that? 5.5%, right? That's how much Trump won Zapata County over Biden. And remember, he won statewide by 5.5. Look at this. John Cornyn lost this county by over 10, but won statewide by 10 points. So, there's roughly a 20-point difference between Zapata County for John Cornyn and for when Trump won it, if you compare to the state electorates. Cornyn did 5 points better statewide, but did around 15 points worse in Zapata County. It's, again, about a 20-point difference. That's a true elastic county when you just look at the raw numbers. Plus, you look at the swing vote, yeah, it swung heavily towards Trump and the Republicans in 2020. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I would consider to be a true elastic county. Yes, Tarrant County did shift Democrat, but so did the state. And when you compare it to the other results, there's about, a couple point gap between what Trump and Cornyn did. When you compare statewide, yeah, that's kind of expected. But you look at Zapata County, Starr County, another one. Trump lost it by around 5. Cornyn, he got crushed. So, southern Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, etc., there are a lot of these counties that are swingy counties, and they shifted dramatically Republican in 2020. That's what I'm saying. These are what you call true elastic counties. Now, this can go both ways. For example, you can go to, where should we go to? You know what? Let's go to Pennsylvania. This is what I'm saying, all right? So, in 2022, and again, it's slightly different environments. Look at this. Oz lost Pennsylvania by 5, right? While Trump, quote-unquote, lost the state by under a point. Look at Westmoreland, right? Westmoreland is a suburban blue-collar county of Pittsburgh, all right? That is the county. Trump won it by almost 30. And remember, he lost statewide by around a point. So let's just say, round up, he won this county by 30 points. Compare that to Oz. He only won it by 19. Sure, he did a couple points worse statewide, but he only did a couple points worse in Westmoreland. He did over 9 points worse than Trump in this county. Better example is Armstrong. So these counties, right, they shifted dramatically Democrat way more than the state. While these suburban counties around Philadelphia, they barely shifted. Now, does that mean there's no elastic voters? Yes, there's some swing voters. That's why Mehmet Oz did better than Trump in Chester. He did about the same as Trump in Delaware. But you compare that to the rest of the state, there's a lot of elastic and swing voters in these rural counties. You can go to Ohio. Look at this. Vance did about the same as Trump in the Cincy and Columbus areas, but collapsed in the rural parts of the state. Yes, Tim Ryan, he did about 2 points better than Biden in the state. But that should only explain around a 2-point shift statewide, not 11, 10, 9, 8, 7.5, 7, etc. These are, again, elastic voters. So you notice a trend here. The counties that are, you can just base on raw numbers wise, that shifted the most Democrat, compared to the state, they tend to be the more blue-collar Trump counties. While the quote-unquote suburban and the counties that Trump's scaring off, they're barely not moving. And you can look at this for many places. You could go to Wisconsin. Look at Wisconsin. Ron Johnson did about, what? I think 2 points better than Trump. Yeah, about 1.5 points better than Trump in the state. In spite of that, look at this. A lot of these counties in southwestern Wisconsin, they shifted Democrat. Richland, Sauk, etc. And while they're not as much as you saw in Ohio, a lot of these counties still shifted Democrat. Greene County shifted a point Democrat. At the same time, you had Waukesha, Washington, Ozaukee, etc. They shifted a few points towards the right. So what does this really mean, right? This doesn't automatically mean, oh, all of these swing voters are in Waukesha or Washington, but there is a trend, all right? We saw in 2020 and 2022, the areas that Trump performed best in, southern Texas, right? That's a good example. He did pretty damn well, Zapata, Star, and Hidalgo counties. Yet, he outran Cornyn several points in spite of doing worse statewide. I mean, how much did he do in Hidalgo? Actually, Cornyn did about the same as Trump in Hidalgo. That would technically say this county is probably, a bit less elastic as Star and Zapata. But again, these counties have smaller populations. You do notice the counties with smaller populations, they tend to be the most elastic. So, does that mean there are more elastic rural voters than there are elastic suburban or urban voters? I think it depends on the state. For example, you go to Wisconsin. People need to understand there are more votes, right? If you combine Dane, Milwaukee, and the Wow counties, there are more votes in the rest of the state than those 5 counties combined. And there's absolutely a lot of swing voters in Grant, Crawford, Verdon. Scott Walker lost every single one of these counties, but he only lost statewide by a point. Trump, he lost statewide by under a point, yet he did great in these counties. But also, he did a bit worse than Waukesha, yet he did worse statewide. So you start doing the math, all right? It depends on the state. Wisconsin, I would say, there are more elastic rural voters. And this idea that you can win just by Waukesha, that's ludicrous. You can't just win Wisconsin because of one, Waukesha County. Ron Johnson, he did great here. But he also was able to maintain, basically the same, if not a bit worse, in these Trump areas. Now, in a state like, Georgia, here's the problem. There are a lot of elastic voters. The problem, they're in the Atlanta metro. Gwinnett County, Cobb, Henry, Newton, etc. These are way more elastic counties we saw in 2020 or 2022 than these rural northern counties. I know we sadly don't got the governor's race up. I should pull it up, but here's an example. You see, Herschel Walker did what? He did only a point worse than Trump here. Yet look at the 2020 comparison. Look at this. These northern and rural counties, yes, they did shift a bit Republican, but they didn't shift that Republican when you think about it. Well, Henry, Rockdale, Gwinnett, Cobb, etc., they all shifted way more Democrat than was projected. So you start doing the math, and I think personally, of the swing states, Wisconsin, way more elastic voters in rural areas. Michigan, I think, you look at this map here, there are a lot of elastic voters in central Michigan. Places like Saginaw, Denise, even parts of Macomb County. I mean, this county, Trump lost statewide by 3. He still won this county by 8. Tudor Dixon lost this county. Yet she did about the same as Trump in Kent County comparatively. All right? There are a lot of blue-collar elastic voters. They used to be lifelong Democrats, but they've been slowly shifting Republican over the years. Pennsylvania, it's hard to tell. You got places like northeastern PA that are showing signs of trending significantly Republican, but you got places like Chester, Bucks, Montgomery that are kind of canceling out. But you start doing the math. Wisconsin and Michigan, that's what, 25 electoral votes right there? Arizona, it's debatable. You gotta go by precinct in Arizona because frickin' Maricopa. But Georgia, of the true swing states, is the only one you can make is hands down. The reason you win Georgia is by limiting the margins in the suburban counties. That is true. This is one of the only swing states where that is true. Wisconsin, you have to do good in rural areas. Michigan, you got to do good in central Michigan. Pennsylvania, it depends. Even North Carolina, you can do terrible in Mecklenburg. You can do terrible in Wake. But if you have good rural margins, it really doesn't matter. And there are a lot of elastic voters in rural North Carolina, way more than comparatively to a place like Wake. So yes, in my humble opinion, you look at the map and you realize the elastic voters, they're not, most places, they're not suburban. Yes, they exist in suburban areas, but in the key swing states of Wisconsin, Michigan, you could argue about Pennsylvania, Nevada, it's blue-collar working-class voters. Nevada and Texas, it's Hispanic working-class voters. Wisconsin, Michigan, it's white working-class. This isn't me saying, oh, well, we have to abandon the suburbs. It's just a fact. These rural areas have larger swings than suburban areas. These suburban areas outside of Georgia, they're swinging just based on how the state goes. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share it with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.